going on? Chris Norton here. A lot of everybody know me as Chris Norton, as Christian Norton, whatever you guys want to call me. So that's what I want to talk about today, right? Sphere of influence. Now, getting into real estate, one of the first things we're taught by our broker, our manager, higher ups, I guess, mentors, whichever, is to work on your sphere of influence, right? I guess advertise them, basically solicit the business from your sphere of influence because that's where your initial business may come from, right? Now, me myself, I'm from Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn, New York, Crown Heights, grew up on Lincoln Place, right? Now, where I grew up, with all respects to everybody from my neighborhood, we didn't have a lot, right? We don't come from money, right? We don't come from opportunity. We had to make our opportunity. We had to make our money and do what it takes to do things like that, you know? And, you know, there were drug dealers, there were, drug addicts, gang members, so on and so forth, right? So in that time, a lot of people wasn't, we weren't taught to build credit. We weren't taught to save money. We weren't taught about finances, the bank, so on and so forth, inflation, everything like that. We wasn't taught that. So when you're not taught that when you're growing up, and now you're an adult, in a sense, you're kind of already stuck in your ways. So you feel like, man, I'm gonna get this drug money forever, or man, I'm gonna do this forever, man, I'm gonna do that forever, or whatever anybody's doing, scamming, whatever you guys, whatever is in that realm of what you are doing, right? Bunch of criminal activity happening. So now, what do you do when you get into an industry that tells you focus on your sphere of influence, when your sphere of influence, they're not in a position to assist you, right? Now, sphere of influence can be a bunch of things. I understand that. Sphere of influence can be your tailor. It can be the store owner. It can be the person at the laundromat. It can be a bunch of things. I get it. But, if that isn't broken down to the average agent or the newer agent, how are they going to know? How are they going to understand? So let's just say you still don't have those things around you. Maybe you got the property at the corner store. Maybe you got the people at the Chinese restaurant or whatever. That's still considered sphere of influence because it's around you and they kind of know you. But they only know you really from, it's transactional. They might have saw you grow up. They might have saw you get into a few fights here and there, so on and so forth. A million things could have happened, but they never really know you from business. So most people that have the privilege of having an effective sphere of influence, in a sense, have a bigger advantage. So now what do? Because you don't have a sphere of influence or an effective one. You might know a lot of people, but let's say you grew up in the projects. I didn't grow up in the projects, but let's say you grew up in the projects. There's not a lot of opportunity there. The people there, Section 8, welfare, so on and so forth. Most people don't even have insurance, health insurance, let alone life insurance, right? So they either going from paying no rent to a little bit of rent, or like rent that somebody had killed for a humongous 4-bedroom for maybe $1,000 a month. They're not gonna be in a position to help you with a rental, and it can go past them, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be with the people that are like you. So most of the people that's in those bad situations know people that's in bad situations, right? So it's not impossible, but it's unlikely to sit there and say, listen, I'm a newer agent, I'm about to get my license. Can I sell your house or can I help you buy one? Especially when they seen you growing up fighting Kiki and James and Joseph or whatever, their whole life, and now you're trying to be, you got the collared shirt and a tie and things like that. So you don't have that as an opportunity. You don't have that as an option. So now, sphere of influence is out, almost out of the question. What do you do? You find a different source of lead generation. Cold calling is what I do, right? You got FISBOs, you have expired, you can circle prospect using a bunch of, you can use, MLS, you can, it's a bunch of websites. I'll get into that in another video, but it's a bunch of websites that you can use to actually get leads, right? And effective leads. Well, for the most part, depends on how effective you are as an agent, right? In all fairness, I'm not trying to be rude, but if you're not doing anything, then you're not going to be effective. You're not going to be, if you're not hustling and bustling, you like I don't know what to tell you, but you got to be able to now door knocking. You got to be able to put yourself out there because you don't have the sphere of influence. You don't have that privilege. You don't have that opportunity. You don't have that option. So if you really want to make it in that industry, then you got to be able to do that. I'm not too sure about other industries like the car industry or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure sphere of influence doesn't only apply to real estate. So this is really for everybody out there that doesn't have that opportunity, that doesn't have the option of that. Cold calling, door knocking, direct mailing, just any kind of prospecting, farming area. Do your research, read books or listen to audio books that help give you ideas on how to do that. I had a goal of listen to 50 audio books by December 31st, 2020. And by June 11th, I want to say, or June 15th, that's some middle of June, I've listened to 53, 54. So I beat my goal plus more, and I'm still listening, right? You want to do your research. You want to look at people like Jason J. Miles, who's also a black realtor, doing amazing things. It's why I like Ricky Caruth, Brian Casella, people like that, that's Loida, people like that, that's like really that's relatable to you, Do your research if you really want this, because this is an industry, this is a game where you have to be on your game, right? You have to be on it. You can't be playing around because you don't have that luxury of having a bunch of people that got millions of dollars to play with. You feel me? Even if you go to Poppy at the store and he really wants to buy another store, he wants to buy another mixed-use property, he wants to buy a house for his family, or his daughter wants to rent an apartment, so on and so forth. It's not really likely you're going to get the business because he's seen you fighting, he's seen you cursing, he's seen you doing whatever, I don't know, buying weed. It's like he's seen that part of you. So you're not going to really have that opportunity. Is it impossible? No. He might really have a good relationship with you. The lady at the nail salon might have a good relationship with you. But as far as like direct friends or direct family members, if you grew up in an impoverished neighborhood, it isn't likely. And then it sucks because you really want to get out of the hood, right? You really want to get out of the neighborhood that you're in. You really want to make something better for your life. Real estate is a tool, is a career that can actually propel you to newer heights. You look at doctors, you look at lawyers, you look at whatever, and as a real estate agent, You actually have the opportunity to make more money than them, you know, and it doesn't take you years and years and years of school. It takes you years and years and years of experience. Possibly, you know, some people luck up and make sorry. All right, whatever. Like luck up and make, you know, a couple $100,000 their first year, the first 2 or 3 years. You know, it's whatever's in the cards for you. But you want to make sure that you're not going to use it as an excuse, right? All right, you don't have the luxury of having your best friend who wants to buy a house, right? So you can make a commission. You don't have the luxury of your cousin, your sister, your brother, your mother wanting to buy a house or sell a house or so on and so forth. That just means don't worry about that. Don't worry about that option. You're gonna have to use one of these other lead generating options, right? That means you're gonna have to cold call and be okay with rejection. You know? You gotta be able to be innovative and say, listen, all right, this isn't gonna be easy for me. This is gonna be kind of difficult. What I gotta do? You know, what are my options here? You know, not why I can't afford it or why can't I afford it. How can I afford it? So not why can't I be able to get listings and opportunities like this? How can I? Because I don't have the sphere of influence. Everybody around me was in messed up positions growing up my entire life. You know, everybody around me is on welfare. Everybody around me is doing bad. You know, terrible credit, minimum wage jobs, a bunch of things happening. So now it's time for you to get creative. Now it's time for you to get creative. Now it's time for you to go out there and hustle. You know, growing up where I grew up, a lot of people, you've seen a lot of drug dealers. They didn't even realize in their mind, you know, it wasn't the best way of being an entrepreneur, but that's what it was. You know, they worked for themselves. They decided they was going to get up at a certain time. They set up shop. You know, they purchased their product. They sold their product. If the product wasn't good, they went back, got more product, get better product, so on and so forth. Like, this is services. You got customer service, this, and the third. They treated the people how they wanted to treat them. But, you know, you treat them good, you give them good, they're going to come back. The same thing. Same thing. So, look, maybe son on the corner isn't able to help you in that situation or that kind, because he's been selling drugs his whole life, so he doesn't have credit. You know, his car is possibly in his girl's name or something like that. So, you know, he doesn't understand the fundamentals of credit. He doesn't understand a mortgage, you know. His rent is based off of his income, and he doesn't have any reported income because he's been selling drugs, right? So, what do? Get creative. Don't let that be the end-all be-all, you know? You'll be all right. Talk to you guys soon. Chris Norton. Comment, like, subscribe, share. Do a little bit of everything, all right? Spread the word. Talk to you guys soon. Later.